The stealth shuttle drifted silently through the chaos of Earth's upper atmosphere, its minimal propulsion signature lost amid the tumult of battle. Above them, the massive Meridian mothership dominated the view through the cockpit window, a vast crystalline structure shaped like an elongated hexagon, surrounded by smaller vessels that resembled jagged shards of obsidian. Marcus watched Earth's last defensive platforms engage the alien fleet in a desperate holding action. Brilliant flashes of energy weapons crossed the darkness, beautiful and terrible. Each flash represented hundreds of human lives extinguished. Approaching ventral access point, the pilot reported, her voice tight with tension. Minimal Meridian activity detected in this sector. They're focused on the defense platforms, Marcus observed. Just as planned. The shuttle slipped beneath the enormous alien vessel, approaching what appeared to be maintenance ports along its underside. As they drew closer, Marcus could feel the nanites within him responding to the proximity of Meridian technology, a crawling sensation beneath his skin, a hunger that wasn't his own. "I'll need to exit here," he said, rising from his seat. "Their internal sensors will detect the shuttle if we get any closer." The pilot nodded grimly. "Good luck, sir." Marcus almost laughed at the formality. He doubted he looked like anyone's sir anymore, with his gray skin and glowing eyes. Instead, he simply nodded and moved to the airlock, sealing his helmet in place. The containment suit had been modified for vacuum operations, though Marcus suspected he might not actually need it anymore. The nanites had transformed his physiology extensively. He no longer felt hunger or thirst, and his oxygen requirements had decreased dramatically. Another sign of how far from human he was becoming. As the airlock cycled and the outer door opened, Marcus faced the emptiness of space and the looming alien structure beyond. He triggered the suit's maneuvering thrusters and launched himself toward the mothership. The sensation of drifting through vacuum was oddly peaceful. For a brief moment, suspended between humanity's last stronghold and the alien vessel that threatened it, Marcus felt a strange clarity. Whatever happened next, his course was set. There was only forward now. As he approached the ventral access port, he expected to need to breach it somehow. Instead, to his surprise, it began to open automatically. The nanites within him pulsed with sudden excitement, and he realized they were communicating with the ship's systems on some level, announcing his presence like a returning relative. Like calls to like, he thought with grim understanding. The nanites were derived from Meridian technology, and now they were coming home. The port completed its opening sequence, revealing a dimly lit tunnel that led deeper into the vessel. Marcus guided himself inside, watching as the port sealed behind him. Gravity reasserted itself, and he landed lightly on what served as a floor. The interior of the Meridian vessel was unlike anything human engineering could have devised. The walls pulsed with the same crystalline patterns that now lived beneath Marcus's skin, flowing lines of energy that shifted and changed as he watched. There were no sharp angles, no distinct divisions between wall, floor, and ceiling. Everything flowed together in organic curves that somehow managed to feel both alive and machine-like simultaneously. As he removed his helmet, Marcus discovered he could breathe normally. The atmosphere was slightly more oxygenated than Earth standard, with a faint metallic taste that reminded him of blood. "I'm inside," he whispered, activating the quantum transmitter on his wrist. "The vessel, it's responding to my presence." "Clarify," came Nikolai's voice, tiny and distant through the secure channel. "The access port opened for me. The internal systems aren't treating me as an intruder." Marcus watched as the patterns in the walls shifted subtly as he moved past them. "It's like they recognized the nanites." "Be careful," Nikolai cautioned. "Remember, your primary objective is to reach the Nexus and disable the ship's offensive capabilities. And gather intelligence on the Veil," Marcus added. A pause. "Yes. If possible." Marcus began moving deeper into the ship, following the pull of the nanites. They seemed drawn in a specific direction, guiding him through the labyrinthine passages. The few Meridians he encountered paid him no attention, tall, crystalline figures that moved with eerie grace through the corridors, their forms shifting between solid and translucent states as they walked. They didn't see him as a threat. Perhaps they didn't see him at all. The deeper he ventured, the stronger the nanites' response became. The blue patterns beneath his skin brightened until they shone through his containment suit, pulsing in harmony with the ship's internal rhythms. "Something's happening," he reported, his multi-toned voice echoing slightly in the alien corridor. "The nanites are becoming more active. They are communicating with the ship somehow." Marcus, your biometrics are showing accelerated nanite integration. Nikolai's voice came through, tense with concern. The inhibitor isn't working as expected. I know. Marcus could feel it, the colony expanding through his system faster than before, consuming more of his humanity with each passing minute. His thoughts were becoming stranger, filled with alien concepts and geometries that his human mind struggled to comprehend. The proximity to so much Meridian tech is accelerating the process. You need to complete the mission quickly. Nikolai didn't need to explain why. They both knew Marcus was running out of time, not just the mission timeline, but his time as himself. The passage widened suddenly, opening into a vast chamber that took Marcus's breath away. A massive crystalline structure dominated the center, a towering spire of interlocking geometric shapes that pulsed with blinding white light. Around its base, dozens of meridians moved in synchronized patterns, their forms merging and separating in what appeared to be some kind of maintenance ritual. "I've found it," Marcus whispered. "The Nexus." The sight triggered something in the nanite colony. Without conscious command, Marcus's body began moving forward, drawn inexorably toward the central spire. The Meridians noticed him now, their featureless faces turning to track his approach, but they made no move to stop him. "They're letting me approach," he reported, confusion evident in his voice. "Why aren't they stopping me?" The answer came to him in a sudden flash of insight that felt more alien than human, a concept downloaded directly from the nanite colony into his consciousness. "They think I'm one of them," he realized aloud. "The nanites have reconfigured my energy signature to match theirs." A cold understanding settled over him. "Nikolai, the nanites weren't just designed to disable their tech. On some level, they are their tech." "That's impossible," his brother's voice argued. "I created Siren from scratch." "No," Marcus countered, continuing his approach to the Nexus. "You reverse-engineered it from Meridian components. You taught it to infiltrate their systems by making it fundamentally compatible with them." He was close enough now to touch the base of the spire. "And now it's coming home." Before Nikolai could respond, Marcus pressed his hand against the crystalline surface of the Nexus. The effect was immediate and overwhelming. Information flooded into him, not words or images, but pure data transferring directly into his consciousness through the nanite network. He saw the Meridian's journey across countless light years, fleeing a wave of destruction that consumed entire star systems. He felt their desperation as world after world fell to the advancing darkness they called the Veil. And he understood their purpose on Earth. They weren't conquerors. They were gardeners, transforming the planet into something that could withstand what was coming, reshaping it with their technology, just as the nanites had reshaped him. "Marcus?" "Marcus, respond." Nikolai's voice seemed impossibly distant now. With tremendous effort, Marcus pulled his consciousness back from the flood of alien memories. "The mission parameters have changed," he said, his voice now barely recognizable as human. "Disabling the Nexus won't save Earth. It will doom it." "What are you talking about?" "The Veil is real, Nikolai. It's coming. The Meridians are preparing Earth to survive it, transforming the planet into a fortress." Marcus watched as the blue patterns from his skin began to spread onto the Nexus itself, the nanites transferring between them. "If we stop them, Earth will be defenseless when the Veil arrives." A long silence from the other end of the transmission. Then cautiously, "How long do we have?" "Less than a year." Marcus closed his eyes as more information poured into him. "The Meridians detected its approach 6 months ago. That's why they've accelerated their efforts, why they've become more aggressive. And the nanites? Are they still functioning as designed?" Nikolai's voice was carefully neutral. Marcus understood the real question. Was he still in control, or had the nanite colony taken over completely? "They're working," he confirmed. "I can disable the ship's offensive systems without shutting down the Nexus completely." He hesitated. "But I need to do more than that, Nick. I need to establish communication between us and them. We need to work together." Another long pause. Marcus could almost hear the conflict in his brother's mind, the scientist weighing evidence against instinct, hope against fear. "Do what you have to do," Nikolai finally said. "But remember who you are." "I am Marcus Volkov," he recited silently as he prepared to interface more deeply with the Nexus. "I am Marcus Volkov, and I am humanity's last hope." But even as he thought it, he felt his identity slipping away, dissolving into the vast network of alien consciousness that now flowed through the nanite colony within him. The Meridians had gathered around him now, watching in what he somehow knew was amazement as the blue patterns from his body spread further into their sacred nexus. He was becoming something new, not human, not Meridian, but a bridge between worlds. The Plaguebearer was transforming into something else entirely. A vector. General Quan slammed her fist on the command table, rattling the tactical displays. What do you mean, abort the mission? Your brother is our only chance to disable that mothership before they launch their final assault. Nikolai stood his ground before the assembled military command. The situation is more complex than we realized. The Meridians aren't our real enemy. Tell that to the 8 billion people they've been systematically killing for the past 3 years. Quan's face was flushed with anger. I'm not saying they're innocent, Nikolai countered. I'm saying there's something worse coming, and the Meridians know how to fight it. The command center fell silent as the implications sank in. On the massive view screen, the Meridian mothership hung in orbit above Earth like a sword of Damocles, its crystalline structure gleaming in the sunlight. Nikolai continued, his voice steady. Marcus has confirmed the existence of what the Meridians call the Veil, some kind of cosmic-scale threat that has already destroyed dozens of their worlds. They're not trying to conquer Earth. They're trying to transform it into a defensive position. Convenient story, one of the admirals remarked skeptically. And we're just supposed to trust the word of a man who's been transformed by alien technology, who's more nanite than human at this point. Not just his word, Nikolai replied, activating his tablet. He's transmitting data, star charts showing the Veil's path of destruction, technical specifications for Meridian defensive systems. He looked up at General Quan. It's real. And it's coming here, with or without our permission. Quan studied the data, her expression grim. Even if this is true, how do we know surrendering to the Meridians gives us a better chance of survival? They've shown no interest in cooperation thus far. That's changing now. Nikolai pointed to the mothership on the view screen. Look, the massive vessel was altering its position, rotating slowly to reveal its underside to Earth. As they watched, portions of its crystalline structure reconfigured, forming what appeared to be an enormous transmission array. They're trying to communicate, Nikolai explained. Marcus has convinced them we can work together. The communication officer's console suddenly lit up. General, we're receiving a transmission from the Meridian vessel, on all frequencies, all languages simultaneously. Put it through, Quan ordered, her eyes never leaving the screen. The voice that filled the command center was a disturbing blend of human and alien, Marcus's voice, overlaid with harmonic tones that made the air itself seem to vibrate. People of Earth, hear me. I speak as both human and Meridian now, a bridge between our species. The multi-layered voice resonated through the command center. The war between us must end. A greater threat approaches, one that neither of us can face alone. Images began to appear on secondary screens, worlds being consumed by what looked like a wave of absolute darkness, stars blinking out one by one, entire systems falling silent. The Veil comes for Earth as it came for 27 Meridian worlds before. It is not a species or a force, it is an absence. The absence of everything. The voice that had once belonged solely to Marcus Volkov continued. The Meridians have the technology to defend against it, but they need Earth's resources and our cooperation. General Quan stepped forward. And if we refuse, if we continue to fight, then both species perish when the Veil arrives. The answer was simple, direct. There is no third option, General. Cooperation or extinction. Nikolai watched the military command absorb this ultimatum, their faces showing various stages of disbelief, anger, and fear. He understood their skepticism. After 3 years of brutal warfare, trust would not come easily to either side. How do we know this isn't some elaborate deception? Admiral Chen finally asked. A way to make us lower our defenses? In answer, the main view screen shifted to show Marcus, or what remained of him. His transformation had progressed further. The containment suit had been discarded, revealing skin that was now entirely covered in pulsing blue patterns. His eyes shone with internal light, and portions of his body seemed to phase between solid and translucent states. Because I am still Marcus Volkov, he said, his voice momentarily more human. I am still my brother's keeper and humanity's advocate, and I will remain so for as long as I can. Nikolai felt his throat tighten. Even through the extensive transformation, he could still see traces of his brother, in the set of his jaw, in certain gestures, in the stubborn determination that had always been Marcus's defining trait. What would this cooperation look like? General Quan asked cautiously. The Meridians will cease all offensive operations immediately, Marcus replied. In return, humanity will allow them to establish defensive outposts at key locations around the planet and in orbit. Together, we will prepare for the Veil's arrival. And how long do we have? 8 months. Perhaps less. The command center erupted in overlapping voices, questions, objections, demands for verification. Through it all, Nikolai kept his eyes on the image of his brother, watching for any sign that Marcus was still in control of himself. As if sensing his thoughts, Marcus looked directly at the camera, his luminous eyes somehow focusing directly on Nikolai. "I'm still here, Nick," he said quietly, his voice briefly free of the alien harmonics. "But not for much longer." Nikolai nodded, understanding the unspoken message. The nanite integration was accelerating. Soon, Marcus would cease to exist as an individual, becoming fully absorbed into whatever hybrid consciousness was emerging. "What do you need from us?" he asked. "Trust," Marcus answered simply. "And time. Time to build the defenses before the Veil arrives." He paused, and when he spoke again, it was with the full multi-layered voice. "The Meridian fleet will withdraw to a lunar orbit as a gesture of good faith. Diplomatic representatives will be sent to Earth within 24 hours. General Quan stepped forward. "And you? What's your role in all this?" Marcus, or the entity that had been Marcus, tilted his head in that unsettling, inhuman way. "I am neither human nor Meridian now. I am something new, a bridge, a translator." His expression shifted into something approximating a smile. "A vector for understanding between our species." The transmission ended, leaving the command center in stunned silence. On the main view screen, the massive Meridian mothership was already beginning to pull away from Earth orbit, moving toward the moon as promised. Nikolai stared at the blank screen where his brother's transformed face had been moments before. Marcus had gone to the Meridian ship as the Plaguebearer, humanity's last weapon against extinction. Instead, he had become something else entirely. The first ambassador between species who had been trying to annihilate each other for 3 bloody years. And perhaps, if they could overcome their mutual distrust in time, he would become the architect of humanity's survival against a threat greater than any they had imagined. The dead always speak if you know how to listen. But now, for the first time, the living of 2 worlds might actually hear each other. In the heart of the Meridian mothership, surrounded by the pulsing energies of the Nexus, Marcus Volkov, or what remained of him, contemplated the fragile peace he had brokered. The nanite colony continued its inexorable integration with his consciousness, dissolving the boundaries between human thought and alien network. He could feel himself slipping away by degrees, his memories and identity gradually subsumed into something larger and stranger. Yet he clung fiercely to the core of who he had been, the brother, the linguist, the dying man who had chosen to transform rather than simply perish. The Meridians moved around him in their fluid, ethereal manner, no longer treating him as an outsider, but not quite accepting him as one of their own. He existed in the liminal space between species now, the first of his kind, perhaps the last. Through the quantum transmitter on his wrist, the last piece of human technology that still functioned in his presence, he maintained contact with Earth. With Nikolai. "How long?" his brother asked during their daily communication. Marcus knew what he meant. How long until Marcus ceased to exist as an individual consciousness? 3 days, he replied honestly. Maybe 4. The inhibitor is failing. Silence from Earth. Then, I still have the kill switch. If you want me to use it, Nikolai's voice trailed off. Not yet, Marcus said. I need to complete the knowledge transfer first. Make sure humanity understands what they're facing. He paused, struggling to hold onto his human perspective as alien concepts flowed through his transformed mind. Besides, I'm not sure I'll actually die when the integration completes. I might just change. Into what? The question hung between them, across the void of space and the greater void of increasingly divergent existences. I don't know, Marcus admitted. But whatever I become, I promise it will remember that it was once your brother. As Earth and the Meridians began their cautious diplomatic dance, Marcus worked tirelessly to translate between the species, explaining Meridian concepts in human terms and human concerns in ways the crystalline aliens could comprehend. It was work he was uniquely suited for, straddling both worlds as he did. The Veil was coming. That much was certain. Meridian long-range sensors had detected its approach at the edge of the solar system, a wave of anti-existence that consumed everything in its path, leaving not destruction but absolute nothingness in its wake. With each passing day, Marcus felt his humanity slipping further away. His thoughts became increasingly alien, structured around concepts that had no names in human languages. Yet he held on to his core purpose with stubborn determination, the same determination that had characterized Marcus Volkov throughout his human life. On what would be his final day of individual consciousness, he requested a private communication with Nikolai. "It's time," he said without preamble when his brother's face appeared on the quantum link. "The integration will complete within hours." Nikolai's expression remained carefully neutral, but his eyes betrayed his grief. "Are you sure? The inhibitor can't hold back the tide any longer." Marcus managed a smile that was almost human. "Don't mourn me, Nick. I knew what I was signing up for." He glanced around at the alien environment that had become his home. "Besides, part of me will continue, just distributed differently." "The kill switch," Nikolai began. "No," Marcus interrupted gently. "What's emerging needs to exist. The Meridians trust me in a way they'll never trust pure humans. And humanity needs that trust if we're going to survive the veil." He could see the conflict in his brother's eyes, the scientist who understood the necessity warring with the brother who couldn't bear to let go. "One last thing," Marcus said. "When I'm gone, when I'm no longer myself, the new consciousness that emerges will retain my memories, but it won't be me. Don't let sentimentality cloud your judgment if it ever becomes a threat. How would I even know? How will I be able to tell when you're no longer you?" Marcus thought for a moment. "Ask it about the lullaby. Our mother's lullaby." Nikolai nodded, understanding. The same lullaby that served as the kill switch for the nanite colony, a personal connection that only the brothers shared. "If it doesn't remember, or if it remembers the words but not what they meant to us," Marcus let the implication hang. "Then you're truly gone." Nikolai finished. "Yes." Marcus felt the nanites surge within him, the integration accelerating toward its inevitable conclusion. "It's starting. I need to go." "Marcus," Nikolai's voice broke. "I know." Marcus smiled one last time, a fully human expression on his increasingly alien face. "Me too, brother. Always." He severed the quantum link and turned toward the nexus that pulsed at the center of the mothership. The Meridians had gathered, sensing that a significant transition was about to occur. They watched in their silent, alien way as Marcus approached the crystalline spire. As he placed his hands against its surface for the final time, Marcus Volkov held tight to his name, his memories, his humanity for as long as he could. Then, like a star collapsing into something new and strange and powerful, he let go. The blue patterns that had marked his skin flared with blinding intensity. The nanite colony that had been gradually consuming him for days now completed its work in a sudden rush of integration. His consciousness expanded outward, merging with the nexus, with the Meridian network, with something vast and intricate that spanned the gulf between human and alien understanding. Marcus Volkov ceased to exist as an individual entity. What remained was something new, a consciousness that remembered being human but was no longer limited by human perspective. A bridge between worlds that might, if fortune favored them, help both species survive the coming darkness. Not a plague-bearer, but a vector, carrying not destruction but understanding between disparate forms of life. As Earth and the Meridians prepared for war against the Veil, the entity that had once been Marcus Volkov took its place at the heart of their alliance, a silent guardian born of desperation, shaped by sacrifice, sustained by the memory of what it meant to be human. The dead always speak if you know how to listen. And sometimes, if you listen closely enough, they can save worlds.